class, I wanted to go over the 7th character extension with you and how to find that in your coding manual. Sometimes a code is going to require that 7th character extension, and that extension has to appear in the 7th character spot. Now the 7th character is found at the category level in your tabular list. And if you don't remember what the category level is, now that's important. You need to go back to chapter 2 and read about the category level. It's your 3 digits. 3 digits are a category level, 4 characters is a subcategory level, and 5 characters is a subclassification. So that's important to remember. Now the guidelines, and remember the guidelines are our rules for coding, so we need to know where they are and how to use them. So the guidelines for the 7th character extension can be found on page 4 in your the front of your ICD-10 coding manual. But it's section 1A, number 5, 7th characters. And I'm going to read through that really quick. Certain ICD-10 categories have applicable 7th characters. The applicable 7th character is required for all codes within the category or as the notes in the tabular list instruct. The 7th character must always be the 7th character in the data field. If a code that requires a 7th character is not at least 6 characters, then we'll have to use that placeholder X to fill in for those empty characters. So I want to code first. I want to do a step-by-step coding to help you see how to find that 7th character extension. So we're going to code an initial encounter of a sprain of an unspecified acromioclavicular joint. So following those 8 steps to accurate coding, and you can find those in your textbook, and you can also find them in your student materials folder where you can print them off and have them near. So our first thing is our main term. So our main term in this scenario is sprain. We're talking mainly about a sprain here. So we're going to look up in our ICD coding manual sprain. So let's do that. And forgive me for this book not being tabbed, but I'm traveling and I had to use a different book for this video. So we want to go in the alphabetic index and we want to go to sprain. Now if I get there before you get there, that's the beauty of a video, is you can just pause me and catch up. So remember, our main terms are found in red. So, and they're in alphabetical order. So we're looking down and we find sprain. Now, what else do we need to know? We need to know initial encounter. We need to know that it's of an unspecified acromioclavicular joint. So what's a little bit more information about the sprain? Because that's going to be our subterm. And it's acromioclavicular joint. So that's the subterm. Now let's look here. We see sprain in red. In parentheses, we see joint and ligament. And we do have joint in our diagnostic statement. These are called non-essential modifiers. And if these are in your diagnostic statement, then that's great. You know you're at the right spot. But if they're not in your diagnostic statement, that's okay too. That's why they're called non-essential modifiers. So you can see that your subterms are in alphabetical order. And then like under ankle, there's more subterms, and these all have to do with the ankle. So the first one we see is the acromyoclavicular joint or ligament, and it gives us code S43.5. We see a dash, and we also see a red dot. And if you look down at the bottom of your book, if you can't remember what a red dot means, I'm trying to push you down there to see it. Can't seem to get it in the. It means use additional characters. So that just lets us know right off that we're going to have additional characters. Let's see if I can set this back up a little better. Okay, so let's write that down. Let me get a piece of paper. Let's write that down so we know where to go. And it's also good as you're doing this just to write down the steps you took to get here. That way you can tell if you missed something where you went wrong. So we went to sprain, and then we went to acromyoclavicular, and that gave us code S43.5-. So let's go back to our tabular and look at that code, because remember, we never code just from the alphabetic index or just from the tabular. So let's go back to the tabular. We're looking for S43.5. S43.5. And here we are on page 1287, and we see S43.5. And see these red stop signs? See a lot of them in this category. This red stop sign tells you that this code is incomplete. So we know that S43.5 is incomplete. There's going to be more characters to complete this code. If you submit this code to an insurance company, you're going to get denied. If you submit this code for an answer, it's going to be wrong because there's more characters to complete this code. So what do we know about our sprain of the acromyoclavicular joint is we know that it's of an unspecified acromyoclavicular joint. So sprain was our main term. This acromyoclavicular joint was a subterm. And now we have unspecified, just a little bit more information. Do you see how it's more information about each thing that gives you your subterms? So we've got under S43.5, we've got three choices. S43.50 tells us it's the sprain of an unspecified acromyoclavicular joint, and that's what we had, unspecified. If our documentation told us it was right or left, we would be using a different code. But since it's an unspecified, we are going to go with S43.50. Again, you see the red stop sign, which means there's more characters to code this completely. And you also see this red X, and that means that there's a placeholder for this code. So let's go back to the category level. The category level, remember, is three characters. So let's move back. And the category level is here on page 1285 in my coding book. And S43, we've got some includes notes here. We've got a code also note. Code also, any associated open wound. We don't have that in our documentation. We've got some excludes to notes. And that one does not apply to us. And then it also tells us that the appropriate 7th character is to be added to each code from category S43. So we know we have to have a 7th character for this code. And then it gives us the box that tells us the 7th characters for this code. It's either going to be A for the initial encounter, D for the subsequent encounter, or S for the sequela, or the late effect. Remember, the sequela is something you're coding that happened in the past. So, our documentation actually tells us that it's the initial encounter. So we will choose 7th character A for the initial encounter. But remember, it has to be in the 7th character spot. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Only 5 characters. So the 6th character will have to be an X, and the 7th character is going to be an A. So the correct code for this scenario is S43.50XA. I hope that helps give you a better understanding of how to use the placeholder as well as the 7th character extension. Thank you.